Hi, this is Anthony Douglas for Module 8, the aspects of the teacher evaluation. In the articles, I found it interesting that over time, teacher evaluations have changed, they've developed, they've gone for better or worse, but there's always been an accountability or a system to evaluate teachers and to observe, whether it be the Danielson model, Marzano model, whatever model it is, but there's been a way for people and supervisors and principals to observe the classroom instruction, the results of the classroom instruction, engage student achievement and teacher success, apparently through either it be test scores or development as a student, as their growth in this certain academic area. There's been a lot of issues that have come up because of that. One that it's subjective, depending on the teacher, depending on the evaluator, also depending on the student group. But one quote that I found interesting, it asked, what constitutes a proficient teacher in one state may not be the same as other states or in a district next door, for that matter. Um, I've worked in a lot of different districts. I say a lot, but a few different districts with different people groups, different socioeconomic groups, and makes you wonder how those different groups would compare to one another, and how the proficiency would compare to the other. My concern would be in reading the articles, some of them talked about bringing in data points and data dots and observations on test scores, and seeing teachers who are effective in what we consider low socioeconomic schools, but the students there don't have the foundation, aren't going to achieve as well. However, are they ineffective? Probably not. If that's what our evaluation system goes to, that's what we're based on. My concern would be to get teachers, effective teachers, to teach in those areas. There's been some other issues I thought came up that were interesting. Education Week brought up the fact that the policy frenzy to establish new methods for evaluating teachers over the past few years has led to an unintended byproduct: lots of litigation. Teachers have found ways to sue, ways to come back at, ways to send litigation into those areas because the evaluations are unfair in their opinion, or they may be biased in the supervisor's observation, or it may not be fair to the students for that the way it's designed. NEA in the 2018 article wrote, states may design and implement evaluation and support systems that are based apart on evidence of student academic achievement. Again, it's hard to come up with an argument that some are going to have more academic achievement just based on their culture, their social economic status. Is poverty considered? Some systems aren't, some systems are. And so to be fair, how do you gauge teachers in that evaluation system to be equitable within the realm of teaching? Education Week had this other one I thought was interesting. Teacher evaluation is likely to remain a continuous and central topic in K-12 education. Yes, teachers need to be accountable. Teachers need to be evaluated. Teachers and students need to see what the achievement gap is, or where the achievement gap is. How are teachers being effective? How are students' instruction being produced? How is it being presented? And what's the result of that? Continuous, the way I read it, is it's ever changing. It's developing. There's no system since teaching since 2004, 2005. I haven't been in a system more than 3 years total before the system changed or developed or was manipulated. So I like the fact that we're taking in consideration that it will be a continuous central topic in education. The district I'm in now, in USD 259, has the evaluation system of Marzano model. However, they've pared it down to only certain domains, and not all the domains of Marzano are evaluated. Not all of them are scored the same, and they're all gauged a little bit differently. How it works in 259 is administrators or assistant principals, whoever it is that's evaluating, will come in unannounced for 10 or 15-minute snapshots of your classroom. Just watch, just observe. During that same time, they'll send you uh, information, feedback, what they observed in that 10, 15 minutes, and rate and rank you as a teacher for that engaging 15 minutes. Are you effective? Are you ineffective? Are you innovating? Are you applying? Are kids engaged? Are they not? Then, after a few of those every year, in USC 259, your first year, and it's supposed to be every third to fifth year, you're on a cycle to get what would be considered a formal observation. I say supposed to. There are teachers who haven't been or will be. But then when that does happen, you're given a time frame window of 2 weeks to say, hey, here's where we're coming. Here's a lesson plan. We need your goals and your objectives. When's a good time to come? Then the teacher will meet with the evaluating assistant principal or principal prior to that observation for 10 to 20 minutes, just going over the lesson plan, going over what's supposed to be expected, going over what's interesting on the form they give you fill out. It also asks you the dynamic of your class, the social economic makeup of your class, the grade level of your class, the reading level of your class. Are there students in there with special ed and special needs, 504 cases? What's the balance, boys to girls? What's the makeup of this class that you're going to teach? Then the principal or assistant principal that's observing will set a definite date to come in and do a 45-minute observation. During that time, they'll provide feedback at the end via eye observation. And in that time, you can go through and read, but you also have a chance to respond at the bottom. If they didn't see something, if they left before there was a follow-up, maybe they came in the middle of a unit and you didn't have all the aspects they thought you should have, you can explain that in that bottom part before you submit. Then there's always a post-conference. During that post-conference with them, you're able to self-reflect. If you like to appeal your process, you can do that, and you can talk through the different domains that were observed. If you feel like you were observed unfairly, there's a process of appealing. You must do it in writing. You must notify the observing principal within 5 school days, and you yourself have to provide evidence that you do those things in your classroom, and then submit an appeal to the assistant superintendent. And if it gets that far, then they take it on to the superintendent and the Board of Education. There is a case in the state of New York. It's Latterman versus the state of New York. And it's the fourth grade art teacher who's being observed based on the math scores of her students. She goes in, her husband is actually her attorney, and he argues the fact that this isn't fair, it's not right. We're giving a data dot on a teacher who doesn't teach a subject, and she's being graded on that, or being observed on that, sorry. And so she actually won the case. It was determined by the judge that the madness must stop. It's time for other teachers to stand up and legally challenge their scores, and stop allowing taxpayers to do this. It's enriching the test companies, and it's unfair. She goes on, Latterman makes the comment that across the country, students are laboring over unfair tests that are too long and that produce enough data for the teacher to score. So there's enough stuff out there that we don't need more data dots and attaching them to teachers who don't teach those subjects, let alone attaching it to their observation. Here are the references.